Here we go, Mr. Stahl coming to you with some personal and lab safety rules. Each year, thousands of people are injured while using tools and machines. Like I've made the joke in class, these are big boy tools, need big brain students to use them. We can't afford to have you not know what to do when you step in front of these machines. You have a commitment and a responsibility when you hit on, do I know what I'm doing? Is my hands, body, face, eyes, everything prepared to use those machines? And so it's really important that we follow these personal and lab safety rules. So first of all, some really simple rules, things that really are most common sense. So first off, get proper instruction before using the tools and machines. Duh, right? We don't just come in and just start using stuff. We have to kind of know what's going on. Now I know some of you have a really extensive background when it comes to tools and machines, but I have to know that. I have to know that you know what you're doing. Keep the work area clean and organized. One thing that we'll start focusing on is making sure that our shop is cleaned up, that our machines are dusted off. Every one of you will have a small job to do every single day. So it's really pretty easy to do. Keep your cutting tools sharp. All right, if you've ever tried to cut something with something that's dull, it becomes a huge safety risk when you do that. So we're always going to want to make sure things are ready to go, make sure things are sharp, and make sure things are prepared and ready to cut. Always use the correct tool for the particular job. Again, right, if we say, okay, cut this on the bandsaw, I need you to cut it on the bandsaw. I don't need you to try to cut it on the jigsaw or something else, try to cut it on the table saw. We use those particular tools for the particular job because they're set up in order to do that. Some of the materials may be too thick, maybe it's too hard a material, but we ask you to cut something on those machines. That's what I want you to do. All right? Always use guards and safety equipment when using the tools and machines. Again, hello, if there's something there to protect your hands, all right? So if we look at tools like the drill press, if this is on here for a reason to protect our hands and fingers, then we want to make sure it stays there. We don't want to remove it for any reason. Really simple. Report all damaged tools to the instructor or Mr. Stahl or myself, please. This is where you have to man up a little bit, right? If you break something, you have to come tell me, because a simple job or a simple fix could occur compared to if you leave it for somebody else. They end up turning it on, ends up hurting them, or wrecking part of the holding mechanism on a blade or whatever it is. But usually it creates a larger problem if you don't tell me right away and let me get it fixed. Be sure all power tools are unplugged when changing their settings. Again, for example, if I was going to change the blade, right, on this miter saw or change a setting, I better make sure it's unplugged, right? I don't want to have any chance or any possible chance that that machine is going to turn on when my hands are near those cutting, that cutting surface. So again, very simple, unplug before changing the settings. Handle all tool and equipment with care. It doesn't matter if it's a drill, right? Some of these things are well over $100 each. And if we ask you to carry this, right, I want you to be balancing on your hand or trying to walk around with it. I want you to be able to hang on to it and take it to where you need to go. We want to make sure when it's on the table, it's on the center of the table, not on the edge hanging off where someone can bump it, because even though these tools are somewhat durable, dropping them from 4 to 6 feet on concrete is not going to be great for them. And again, when we have, when we're trying to use the material to have even a drill down or have a tool that we can't use in a full class of 25 or 30 students, we're going to want all the equipment we can use. So it's really important. The last one in this section in the tool and equipment safety rules is allow only one person in the safety zone at a time. Now, if you go back to elementary school, right, you talked about your personal space, having someone right next to you, right, makes you feel kind of uncomfortable, or giving someone stepping back kind of out of that bubble and allowing that normal conversation separation. When we use the tools and machines, we respect that same thing. We want to make sure we have a distance between the people we're working with. We don't want to be hanging over top of someone, hey, you're doing a bad job, or you're not doing great, or your hands are next to something. Now, the only exception with that would be is if you need someone else to help hold something, and then you invite that person in and say, hey, can you help me hold this? I'm gonna cut this on the end so you can make sure their hands are in the right spot. You're not near where they're gonna be cutting at, and you're respecting each other's space. All right, really simple. All right, that was tool and equipment safety rules. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is personal safety rules. Next, we're gonna talk about personal safety rules, right? If I come into class and I'm ready to go and I'm like, all right, let's use the shop today, right? I've got to be able to be prepared to do that. I've got to make sure that I'm ready, mentally and physically ready to use those tools and machines. Again, sometimes being quick and trying to be rushed is only going to create more problems. So the first thing I got to address is keep your hair away from moving parts. Tie back long hair or remove your long hair, right? So you can go ahead and use the tools safely. Really simple there, all right? Do not wear loose-fitting clothes. So anything that's going to be hanging off my body that's going to be able to get in the way, I'm going to want to double up on a couple of things. Do not wear loose-fitting clothes. So sometimes we're getting into depending on what time of year it is, we may be wearing baggy sweatshirts and things like that. Wear a t-shirt, wear a long sleeve shirt underneath it. You can take it off so you're limiting your amount of exposure to the tools and having it snag or catch on something. All right, so really simple there. So I'm going to end up, if this is my wardrobe for the day, I'd want to take off my vest, so I'm not worried about that. The next thing I'd want to do is I'd want to make sure that my sleeves are rolled up. Okay, you saw me do that almost automatically. Next thing I'm going to want to make sure that my safety glasses, goggles, or face shield are on. Our safety glasses are over here. We'll talk about putting those on and wearing them the entire class period, so we're not having them on and off our face all the time. Know where all the emergency shutoff switches are. So in our classroom, right, if I go over here, all right, these are our emergency shutoffs. We have one by every one of the exits. We have those there so in case something happens, right? We hear someone scream, we hear someone in distress. Hopefully we can react to that, go over, turn that off, and hopefully try to help them as quick as we can. We do that and have those. Don't mess with them, don't play around with them. They do have to have a reset on them. But if there is a classroom where we have an accident or we have an emergency, by all means use those things, all right? Last thing, remove all jewelry before operating begins. So I'm looking for earrings, long necklaces, IDs, things that are hanging off my body that's going to cause something there or allow something to get caught on something, snagged on something, ripped off, those types of things. It's really easy for our body to recognize where we are, all right? Where's our hands at? It's not always easy for our body to know where our hair is, where is our bracelets or necklaces or IDs, things that dangle off. A lot of times you'll see me if I wear a tie, I always take it and I tuck it in so it's not dangling off my body all the time. So really, really simple, all right? The last four things we have to talk about are lab safety rules. Clean up spills immediately, all right? You drop something on the floor, go grab some paper towel and clean it up. Very, very simple. Easiest thing is, hey, someone watch it, the spot for me. Hey, can you watch this piece of this drop of paint really quick? I'm gonna run over and grab some paper towel and clean it up. Because if someone steps on that paint, that one drop of paint is now 50 drops of paint as they get traveled around our room. This one here will get you detention super quick. We've already talked about this, self-control, but no horseplay or fooling around is permitted in the lab. I see you running around, chasing after each other, screwing around, I'm just gonna have you sit down. Right? We cannot have you running into someone, snagging your clothes on one of the vices, knocking something off, bumping someone in where they're using the tools and machines. You probably hear your parents talk about this next one. Put all your things back where you found them. This is put all your tools back in the proper places. Wherever we put stuff at, we've been working on cleaning up every day, but we're gonna pick up stuff and put it away every single day. And then the last one, place oily rags in a safety container. This one is if we use flammable or combustible rags or stains where they would be highly flammable, where they could catch on fire. We would then have to make sure that we put them in a safety container where we remove the oxygen so they couldn't catch on fire. So I'm gonna have you do an assignment with these. So tool and equipment safety rules, personal safety rules, and lab safety rules. You have to know those items in our classroom. Those are every single day rules. You know, I don't have a ton of rules when I start school. We have procedures and things that we follow every single day. So in here, there are some things that you have to do every day when you come to class. Make sure you're not wearing sandals. Make sure that you have closed-toed shoes on. Make sure that you're protecting yourself, having hair pulled back, making sure that you have baggy clothes taken off, making sure that your jewelry's removed. It's those simple things. I always tell students this, all right? You don't want to have something happen to you the one time you don't do something, because that's how accidents occur. I've often told some stories where we had a substitute cut his fingers off in class. I've talked to you about someone that I watched use a wire wheel grinder, and one of the wires sheared off and went in his eye in class because he didn't wear his glasses. Right? These are things that I've observed, not in our classroom, all right? Things I've observed in my lifetime, working in a shop and being a part of a classroom. And, I tell you those stories not to scare you, not to say, hey, I don't want to use the tools and machines because I'm super scared I'm going to hurt myself. You need the experience, right? But you also have to step in front of the machines and have a respect for what you're using. All right, I know that I have to be careful. I know that I need to be making sure that I exercise self-control. It's those little tiny things that we do every single day when we come to class. Pulling your hair back, wearing your glasses, taking your baggy clothes off, that will keep you safe in this room. I've worked here many years with students in our middle school, and I'm very proud to say that students, the worst accident I've ever had is someone with a box cutter, not even with one of the machines. So we'll continue to work hard. We learn by listening to these rules and understanding them, but also making sure that we know what to do when we step in front of those machines and we turn them on. All right. Today's video is sponsored by DeWalt. They're the yellow and black tools in our shop. Out.